Welcome back to Our Life Out in the Country. We are in the bedroom remodel once again, and if you haven't been following along, go check out our previous videos where we gutted this room and got it to the state that it's in now. So now that it's in this state, we have to fix it. I'm going to be working on the ceiling. That's my number one priority right now, is to reinforce this ceiling to be able to hang drywall on it. So my plan is to sister up some 2x6s, 11 feet long, spanning the room from the center wall to the outside wall along each truss. And the drywall will be screwed into the 2x6s and not the roof trusses. That's a pretty straightforward and easy job, but I'll show you one thing that makes it a little tricky. Now up here, I'm going to have the 2x6 go in here, but you can see obviously we're not going to have enough room for it. I'm going to have to cut an angle. So I have to get my measurements to cut the 2x6 to fit into here. So I measured that back part. It's 2.5 inches from the top of this plate to the roof. That's pretty easy, but then I got to make an angle. So I wanted to figure out what angle this was. Now there's probably a lot of ways to do this. This is just what I did. Let's just say we put a mark here. It doesn't matter where you put your mark. And then we're going to make another mark 12 inches out. So there's my other mark, 12 inches. And now I'm going to measure right here. You can see that's about 4.5 inches. And now this mark is 7.5 inches. So that's a 3-inch difference over 12 inches. So that means our roof pitch is 3 and 12. It goes up 3 inches for every foot. So all I did was go online, looked up 312 pitch, and found the angle, and they say it's a 14-degree angle. So now I know that my cut will be a 14-degree angle coming down to a 2.5-inch thing. So that's just an easy way to find out your roof pitch, is just to measure from the 12 inches apart and do subtraction. Now this is going to be my first ceiling joist. It's very straight, but I'm going to look for the crown, and the crown is which way the board bows. A bow would be this way, a crown is this way, with the board facing like this. So this one would almost be dead straight, but I'd say this side has the crown. So the crown would go up, and what that means is now the wood would be arching upwards in this position, the crown facing up. And what that does is help resist the sag of gravity over time. It's already curved slightly upward, so with the weight of drywall on it and gravity, if anything, it'll just even out. So now that I know which way is up, I'm going to mark my 2.5 inches right here. And now I just got to make my 14-degree angle from that. This is what I ended up doing, was taking this square, because that's all I got, a little framing square. And you see I couldn't figure out the angle down here anyway. So I put it on here, and I did the opposite of 14 to make a right angle, 90 degrees. 90 minus 14 is 76. I put the square on the edge of the wood. I'm using my level to extend the square. And what I did was, I found 76, let me say, right there. And then I slid this until it hit my mark. You see that? Keeping that at 76. Then I just used that, drew my line. So that should be the proper angle. I know that's confusing, but it's easy when you get what I'm saying. Now that I have that figured out, I have something I can copy. So I can just mimic this same exact cut on all my boards. Put this side up first. So I better start cutting before I lose my light, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. I am back. It's a new day, and last night I got a lot of work done. I got all the wood cut for the ceiling, well, almost all. And I got this plywood screwed onto the floor. I want to get right into the ceiling work, but let's talk about the plywood. I keep avoiding this topic, but let's talk about it. So here's the story. The wood floors in here were actually in really excellent condition. But the floors in the rest of the house vary in condition. As part of this remodel, I'm trying to keep in mind the whole house, the big picture. It's more than this bedroom. So when I was buying supplies, I picked up plywood to lay down on the floor. Now I knew this floor was in good condition, but because I have plans in the rest of the house, it makes sense to raise this floor up a little bit. Let me explain. We plan on tiling the kitchen, the bathroom, the entryways, the laundry area. A number of places in the house will have tile on the floor. I could lay now while I could tile on the floor with a uncoupling membrane like Ditra or something, I just don't feel comfortable with it. Our subfloors are about 5/8 inch plywood, and that is the minimum. I am of the mindset of thickening up the floor, making it more sturdy before tiling. But the problem with doing that is that if I only put plywood, an extra layer of plywood down in the kitchen and the bathroom, then there's going to be different floor heights. So you're going to have, the kitchen will raise up because the floor will be thicker. The living room will go down. You know, it'll be up and down, and I hate that. I want the floors to be as uniform throughout the house as I can. What I'm doing is I'm going to be putting plywood throughout the house to thicken up the floor throughout the house. This is good actually, even in rooms like this that'll just be a laminate or hardwood floor, because it'll make the floor more rigid. It'll really firm it up and you'll lose a lot of that bounce that you have in some of these older mobile homes. And we do have pretty good support under this house, but it doesn't hurt to thicken up the floor and make it stronger. I guess now I'm ready to start working on the ceiling. Let me show you the wood I cut. So here they are, all cut to length, all cut with the angle to fit in here where the roof is. And you can see there's our test piece that we were experimenting with. I ended up cutting them back another little 1/8 of an inch just to give me a little more room along the ceiling. And that's going to make it easier to install these rafter vents. And I'll be showing you those. This is all just test fit. These right here are rafter vents. And it's basically a piece of plastic that you put up here. I'll show you. And you put it right between your rafters, right up against the roof, and you staple the sides. And what it does is it creates an air gap. Can you see that? It'll create an air gap so that when we blow, our insulation up here into the attic, the insulation is not touching the roof. So you want airflow from your soffits up your roof and out the peak usually is where most vents are nowadays. We have gable vents. That's another day, another story. But we're going to be installing these rafter vents across the whole ceiling and then putting the joists up. Put a few staples in it. That looks good. Let me secure this one too while I'm up here. It looks like this is kind of like a makeshift rafter vent. Let's get it out of here. This also gives me a chance to look where I'm going to be putting my joists and make sure there's nothing sticking out of the roof that's going to prevent it from sliding in. Perfect, we're all done with this. Like I said, so these rafter vents will just create that airflow along the roof to keep the insulation drier and keep the heat moving. You always want to keep that air flowing in your attic. So that's done. Alright, I'm going to put you guys here and hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Basically, we're just putting one end up there, sliding it in, setting it in. It's going to be quick and easy.
That one has the thing in the way.
Oh. Oh. I was wondering what I was thinking. Good. That's that. Good. Done. All the joists are in, and you can see these are going to be much better for hanging drywall from. But if you notice, if you look closely, the original trusses hang a little bit lower in the middle. Look at this one. You can see it on this one too. And now what you got to consider is that these trusses have 45 years of snow loads and gravity working against them. And these new 2x6s, you remember we put them crown up, so they got a little bit of an arch to them. Some of them do. Now what we're going to do is clamp them together like this. See that? We're going to bring them dead flush with each other, and I'm going to screw them through with some 3-inch screws right through both of them. And then they're going to help balance each other out. We got this one wanted to go down, this one wanted to go up. They're going to work together and be super strong. There it is, guys. The ceiling is almost done. It looks so good. It's straight, it's strong. We can get right up here and hang on it. And it's like solid. Doesn't bounce. We're gonna definitely be able to hang drywall on that. Now there is a couple more jobs that we have to do here tonight. We have to finish off this end bay. I left this one because it's a little bit different. You can see it's got these, ooh, can you see? Well, it's got some braces going across, and that's holding up the overhang on the end of the house. I'm still gonna add this plastic piece, but what I'm gonna do is just kind of staple it right over those, so it's gonna be a little bit lower. But it also makes it more difficult to put a joist in there because that's in the way, the plastic thing's gonna be in the way. So I'm gonna keep this one super simple since we have the wall here. And I'm just gonna lay a 2x6 right up there flat. Let me show you what I'm gonna do. I have my 2x6 and it's cut straight. I didn't have to angle cut it this way. And also, I don't know if you can see it, but this one is pretty heavily crowned, so I didn't use it on the main joist because it's just humped too much. But it's gonna work perfect for this end bay. So now instead of laying this one upright, we're going to keep it flat. Slide it in here. And it's going to go just like that. And that gives me the same nailer for the drywall. It actually gives me a really good nailer. And I'm just going to screw it in from the top straight down into this. I'm leaving this because it's a good spacer to line me up to where the other ones are. They have a gap too. So let me get my drill. I'll drill it in from the top. We'll get this nice and solid. It got a little bit difficult getting toward the end because I can't fit my drill up above to screw these down. Luckily, I have some lag screws sitting around from another project. And these are 5 inches long, heavy duty. I'm going to just use those right through the bottom of the plate up into the board. It'll go right in there perfectly. So I'll put one over here, one over here. There it is. We get a nice, clean, straight ceiling. Solid too. I'm going to be doing the same thing on this end. A little bit different though. This wall has been bugging me since I opened it up. Because you can see that a lot of these boards are 1x4s. Very skinny. I cannot hook drywall to these comfortably. It's a very hard target to hit, and they're just not super sturdy. But I cannot take this wall down because that opens up the living room. And the living room is where we're staying. That's our beds are in there, that's where we live. We can't have this mess in there and we can't lose all of our heat. What I've decided to do, and I know I can just reinforce this wall if I wanted to, but I'm going to build a new wall right on the outside of this. So a whole new wall right here. I'm going to lose 3.5 inches from our bedroom. But it's not a big deal because we had really deep closet space, so we'll just have shallower closets. It won't be a big deal. By building a wall right here, I can build it the way I want it, not worry about these. And when I drywall this, it'll be solid, and then when I do the next room, I can take this wall down and give that bedroom a little more room. So it's going to be build a new wall, take this one down later. Once I build this wall, I'm going to attach a nailer to the top of it, just like I did over there. But that whole project is for another day. I just wanted to share with you what my plans were to finish off that last section of the ceiling. I'm glad we finally got these trusses reinforced, and now you guys can see my plan of how I'm going to hang drywall on the ceiling. These 2x6s will not only give me really strong supports to hook the drywall up, but they also reinforce the trusses to make sure that roof can hold a little more weight if needed. Well guys, that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. There's another check off the list on the home remodel. This is just one bedroom out of the whole house, but it's a good starting point to see what the project's going to be like, and also to get our systems in place so we know what to do when we hit the next rooms. It's going to get easier and easier as we go because we're just going to repeat what we're learning and doing here. Well, thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.